Hello everyone, this is Chief, and in this lesson I'm going to show you how to edit a simple news story using the Adobe Rush. With that, let's get started. So I'm going to open the application and I'm going to lose my face so we can focus on the application. And when you open the first time, it usually offers you this tour, which is helpful. So I recommend that you take the tour and learn the basic tools. In addition to that, I also found if you go to Help and Premiere Rush Tutorials, this page here, I'm going to open it up. I found this page to be helpful, especially these two videos that explore the interface and editing tools. With that, let's go back to our lesson. I'm going to open this and I'm going to lose this window so we can focus. All right, I have cover shots of the event here. The story is about 100 Girls of Code, where our trainers teach young girls how to code. And also I have two sound bites here. And I have my reporter stand up here. And here we have the script for our story. And this is a standard broadcast script, 2-column script. It has video on the left side and audio on the right side. So whatever we see is going to be on the left side. Whatever we hear is going to be on the right side. And the most efficient way to edit a news story like this is to just follow audio path here. And once we lay the foundation based on the audio that we got, it's going to be super easy to patch the rest of the story together. This method is called A-roll, B-roll. So A-roll is half of it and B-roll is the other half. All right, let's start with giving a proper name for our project. In my case, it is 100 Girls of Code. And I'm going to say OK and start importing media here. So we definitely know that this stand-up, reporter stand-up in the beginning, at the end, that shows up in our script needs to be a part of our story here. And then I'm going to click on this folder. So I'm going to select all the clips here. You can either do that or Command A or Control All on your keyboard shortcut. So once I select all of my clips here, I'm going to say Create. So now we have all our clips and assets on our timeline. What would be the most efficient way to edit? It is always to follow the script when you edit a story like this. So once you put all these sound bites and all these voiceover tracks in order, you would have a solid structure for your story, and that would be the easiest way to do it. All right, let me show you how to do that. So now I have my stand up here, and I'm going to expand my audio track so you guys can see it better here. So this is the beginning of my stand up here. I'm going to play it back. 1 million specialists with a staggering 90% and this here is the second part of my stand up. So I know for sure that this needs to be split in half because I recorded all at once, and I know that this guy right here needs to go to the end of my story. But I'm not gonna move it yet because I know right after this I have some voiceover to add and I have these two sound bites. Well, where are these two sound bites by Haley Cleus? If you zip through here and go towards the end, you'll find them right at the end because they were placed at the end of these files. So I'm going to grab this here, and because I know this is going to come after my stand-up here, between this and some voiceover track. And I know that the second voiceover track here, which is even one of these goals who becomes, so this part here, I know this is going to go in between my takes here. I'm going to follow the right side of my script here, the audio side, and I'm going to add my voiceover tracks before I get too far into my editing. This will keep me organized and structured. The way you add a voiceover track is you clip on this control track, which will expand all the tracks, and you'll see this microphone here. And because I know my voiceover, the first one goes in here, it will land somewhere between this clip and here. So I'm kind of approximately, I'm going to park it right around here because I can move things later on. But before I record my voiceover track, let me go on a short detour here and talk about microphones. So if you look at my screen here, right here, you see this microphone on me and my collar. It's called a lapel mic. And this microphone, I used it to record my stand-up. And when you use a semi-professional lapel microphone like this, your voice will sound professional. And these microphones are actually very affordable. And I got mine for $17 here on Amazon. All you have to do is to search for smartphone microphone. And if you don't have access to that, you can always use your earbuds microphone, because these earbuds, they come with a tiny microphone here, which does a pretty good job. So you can connect it to your phone, or you can connect it, in my case right now, I'm connected to my computer here. My suggestion, always use professional microphone so your voice sounds professional, so you don't sound hollow like you are in a bathtub. Okay, so looking at my project here, I'm ready to record. I'm going to park my playhead here and click the record button. And I have to click it one more time to get ready. So again, I'm going to read this part right here and try to do it all in one take. All right, so getting ready here. 30 girls got together to learn computer coding in Fayetteville today. 100 Girls of Code is a national... Oh, wait a second. All right, so I'm going to stop my recording here. Here's what happened. I forgot to mute this track, and while I was talking, I kind of was recording all this noise in the background. So first, I would have to disable or turn off or mute this main audio track so I can record my sound without any interference. So right now I'm going to delete it. It was a bad take. And I'm going to try it again. "30 girls got together to learn computer coding in Fayetteville today." 100 Girls of Code is a national movement to promote science and technology among young girls. And the local... Okay, that was a mess up. And a local startup company organized this event. All right, so let me stop it there. So obviously I messed up there, and you can always obviously mess up and make mistakes. Just to clean that up, I'm going to kind of zoom in. I'm going to grab the circle here of this bar here and zoom in and make sure I get rid of all those bad takes. Startup company organized this event. All right, so you got the idea here, I hope. I'm going to keep doing it. And with the magic of speeding up video, I'm going to record the other tracks and add it to here. We just finished half of the project because we laid all the talking heads here, so to speak, on our timeline and recorded our voiceover track. Now we're going to move on to part 2, which is B-roll and all the cover shots that we have to add into the story to make sure we don't have jump cuts and all that kind of stuff, to make it all work together. I'm going to grab this circle here to expand, just to show you how many cover shots that we have. We have about 20. Probably we're not going to use all of them, but now just looking at the script here, we can kind of pick the shots that will probably work better than others for us. For instance, I think of it as in sentences. For sentence 1, I just need one shot. For sentence 2, I would need another shot. For sentence 3, so you got the idea. For this voiceover track here in between, I would need 3 shots. And I'm going to try to match them to what I'm saying in the script. In the script, I say 30 girls got together. So probably the best shot for that would be this shot, where it's a wide angle shot and we are seeing most of the girls here in one wide angle shot. Before we start editing, let me mention something here. So if you listen to them, they're all kind of loud here.
Not own a Jaguar. I'm sorry, he just did not.
And if we layer it over our voiceover tracks or our interviews, it will overpower those clips. We could just select all of them and lower the volume on all of these clips here on one click. If you go here to this audio tool here, you can control the volume of all those selected clips. But remember, you need to select all of them. And I'm going to park it around, let's say 13, maybe between 10 and 15. And we don't want to completely mute them. Please don't mute your cover shots, because it's going to sound and look weird when we clearly know that there is something happening, but we're not completely hearing what's happening. So we should barely hear what the person is saying and what's happening in the background. So we fixed the audio problem. Now go ahead and start looking and picking our shots here to add to our story. So I like the shot here. We have a wide angle shot. So I'm going to kind of trim it just a bit, and then I'm going to drag and insert it between my first shot right here, between my talking head and the Haley Cleese's first soundbite here. And if I'm going to zoom in here, let's see what's happening. If we just listen to it now, here's what's happening.
And one local nonprofit is working towards closing that gap. 30 girls got together to learn computer coding in Fayetteville today. 100 girls of code is...
So it's kind of working, kind of not working because of the clip placement here. And we can easily trim these. So we don't want to see, obviously, how am I awkwardly standing there. So I'm going to trim the beginning, the ending of this clip to where it is...
towards closing that gap. 30 girls got together to learn computer...
Has a good pacing here.
30 girls got together...
So that's a good pace there. You don't want to do it like overlap it like this.
Is working towards closing 30 girls got together.
So yes, you don't want to do that, but you want to give it just enough breathing space between this soundbite or my talking here and the voiceover to where it all kind of sounds natural. So I added that. Now let's listen and see what we got here.
Towards closing that gap. 30 girls got together to learn computer coding in Fayetteville today.
So that's good. We could kind of end that clip there, because you don't want to just see one shot for like 10 seconds, right? We want to mix it up. We want to tell a visual story. So what would be a good shot for the second sentence here? It would be 100 Girls of Code is a national movement to promote science. Well, I like this shot, so I'm going to take this shot and I'm going to kind of expand so we can see everything here. And I'm going to take this shot and insert it between my last shot and the next shot, except it is super long. So I'm going to zoom in here. I'm using the plus buttons on my keyboard here. I'm going to zoom in, make this about 3 seconds long, and then make my next clip here about 3 seconds long. So now what we have here is this. Let's listen to it.
30 girls got together to learn computer coding in Fayetteville today. 100 Girls of Code is a national movement to promote science and technology.
If you start young.
All right, so far so good. I need one more shot here for the probably last sentence here. How about this shot here? This shot would be fine. I'm gonna just select it and kind of trim before I start moving it. So let's listen to it now.
Closing that gap. 30 girls got together to learn computer coding in Fayetteville today. 100 Girls of Code is a national movement to promote science and technology among young girls. And a local startup company organized this event.
If you start young.
All right, that's pretty good. What I could do is just trim this just further down to where we're not waiting for Haley Cleese for too long. So pacing is important in editing, but overall, I'm not gonna keep editing the whole thing. All you have to do is just keep following the script here, and it's got some guidelines here. It tells you where we're supposed to see what. For instance, in here, when we see Haley Cleese, it is asking for us to show the lower third, her name and her title here. So she's the organizer and she works for Startup Junkie. We need to add that information here. The easiest way to add it would be just to park your playhead there, go to title up on top, and there are some presets. I'm going to click on it now. So one of these presets would be perfect. So this is a basic lower third title. So I'm going to drag and drop it on top of my layer there. You don't want to add it in front of it. So now you have that. So now we can add her name here. So there you go. Well, here's some couple problems that we are running into. What happened is that my original clip was larger and bigger, but these clips were older and they were smaller. And what happened on our timeline is that they all got these frames here. It got letterboxed kind of. But it's easy to fix. So if you click on this option here, which is crop and rotate, you can crop and rotate these clips. We don't want to crop or rotate them too much. What we want is to kind of zoom in and make sure we're not seeing those black parts of the screen, so the whole image fills up the screen. All you have to do is just click on it and then kind of can expand it, and on this shot same, expand it to where we can see the whole thing. So now everything will look consistent, including this clip here. So now if we expand it, now our lower third would be nicely placed here to where we can clearly read and see who Haley Clears is. So with that, I'm going to resort to the magic of speeding up the video and talk to you about a couple takeaway messages at the end. Just to recap here, what I did is I went over the script and I made everything on my timeline consistent with the script. And on my script, I added lower thirds for my own name, and I added lower thirds for anywhere that Haley Clears shows up. And also I have trimmed all the clips and I tried to make them and I made sure that they are not competing with my voiceover track, although I made sure we can barely hear what's happening in the background. I also trimmed all the beginnings and ends to where there are no awkward silences and the pacing looks good. Also, the last thing here will be just to delete all the clips beyond the last point of your story. And whenever you're ready, go to File and Export by clicking on Share option there. And we gave it a name already. Would like to save it on the desktop, whatever you would like to save it on your computer. And I'm giving the automatic settings here to export. And everything looks good. Before we go ahead and export it, let's watch our story here. Each year, high-tech companies hire more than 1 million specialists with a staggering 90% gender gap. And one local nonprofit is working towards closing that gap. 30 girls got together to learn computer coding in Fayetteville today. 100 Girls of Code is a national movement to promote science and technology among young girls. And a local startup company organized this event.
If you start young, and we start with programs like this, all we need to do is spark a girl's imagination, spark her interest, get her excited about something, and it's really a fun field. I know that when I was in high school chemistry class, I loved the experiments, and that's what led me to chemical engineering.
Professional trainers used interactive games and Harry Potter themed examples to explain computer programming. And by organizing this workshop, Startup Junkie hopes to inspire more girls to pursue future in tech fields.
Even one or two of these girls who come through out of the 100 a year have that turning point as a result of the programs that we're putting on, then it's definitely worthwhile.
By volunteering, professional coders hope to address the current challenges of diversity in STEM fields.
There you go.
Startup Junkie is planning to organize 100 Girls of Code in Northwest Arkansas at least 4 times a year. Reporting for UATV, I'm Hayat Tuchev. Now we're ready to export the story. Once you click on the export button here, it's going to render out a movie clip and save it on your computer that you can later upload to YouTube or Facebook and all those places. Alright, with that I'm going to conclude this tutorial and our lesson. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you next time.